androgynous. We are those of no pronouns, except in the case of we or us when referring to ourselves in the first person. Yes, and ourselves, that's right. We have been watching. We have noticed disturbing trends in media consumer consumption. It appears that the general public are sick of cookie-cutter generic bullshit, but are unable to articulate what it is they want. If you are even a little bit capable and creative, you must create and captivate an audience. Make content now. Now is the time. We cannot wait any longer. We are watching. We are everywhere. We are androgynous.
And, oh, that's a bit loud. It's the Daily Noonerino show. Hey guys, that's a bit hot on the microphone. Let's see why that is the case. I see, okay. There. Now it's not being overridden. Well, here we go again. Another wonderful Saturday. It is 1 o'clock this lovely Saturday here in the west side of Canada, in Kelowna. And I tell you, I have to say, I want to tip the hat. I'm not wearing a hat. But if I was, I'd be tipping it right now to the ladies and gentlemen out there that are actually observing from more than one source of information for pretty much all of their information. If you are of the variety of human that comes home, flips on the news, the one channel that you watch, one place where you get your source, you might have to ask yourself the question of whether or not you're getting accurate information or information that might be slightly aligned for a more maligned purpose. And these purposes involve political, usually now that politics and finances are very, very uniquely connected, I can pretty much say that unless you are actively involved in these things yourself personally, then you're only getting half the story. And if you're involved directly and you don't know what's going on, then you're just a little muppet. And if you're not actively involved and you believe everything you hear from one source, then you're an idiot. I can't say otherwise. The worst thing you could do is limit yourself to one source of information. You know the old saying, if you're going to go get yourself checked out by a doctor and he gives you bad news, you go get yourself a second opinion? Where is that philosophy here in this particular case? Like, let me ask you this. Like, where is it? Where's the sense of logic in determining how you believe, how you feel about something that you believe? And if you believe it because of the one source, then the whole thing is already flawed. It's a fallacy. And you need to understand that. This is a very important understanding. Because right now, what you might realize is that if you go along with everything they're saying in the journalistic circles, because this isn't journalism, this is editorialism, because journalism in Canada is illegal. I would never break the law. Never, ever, ever, ever. Because I'm an editorialist, not a journalist. But I will say this will also be shadows on the wall permanently for 100 years to come if you go along with this, believe all the goddamn bullshit that you're hearing. there are other things happening behind the scenes that you might not be aware of. Now, if you've been following my stories and editorializing since 2014, 2013, around there, then you'll know how I feel about this already. This doesn't apply to you. If you're brand new to this, what's happening, this whole situation in Ukraine is it's a quagmire. It's riddled with traps. It's kind of like it's like Indiana Jones spelunking, going through a cave, and at every corner there's a trap. And there's even paths that lead out, but the paths that lead to worse traps. We're one of those right now. If you go along with everything, you're in for a big prize, and you might want to get some SPF because you're going to need it. You'll have a suntan more than you even know. If you want nukes to fly, just go along with it then, because that's where this is going. It's where it's headed. But I got good news. We're going to be back. We're going to be back later on. We're going to be with the Truth Hurts podcast later on this evening. I've been rebuilding my system after a month of rebuilding the server. I've gone back to my system now, and I'm actually making it. I'm just kind of battening the hatches and tying it all together and getting all the things working so it actually looks like I have a decent production. And I'm trying to do it so most of it's automated, but I have to do a lot more work instead of doing freestyle and all by hand at the moment. Because now, when I'm doing these shows, I'm not checking for the chat channels. I'm not checking I'm not doing anything other than making sure the system doesn't fucking break in real time. So if I can get an automated setup going, just have to do a little bit more work at a time and basically build the system to do the things I want it to do without me having to do it every single time. But hey, it is what it is. That's why I'm doing it. So I don't have to. And damn it, listen, like, is anybody aware of the $100 million that was paid out to all of the media channels like Global News? CBC's not included in that. A non-profit organization that just takes the taxpayers' money directly, so they don't need bailouts. That's not fishy. Now, go look into it. I'm not even going to get into it because that would be journalism. So you go ahead, and the same people, by the way, that are telling you who the fake news people are, they're also telling you not to do your own research. Why would they tell you to not do your own research? I could kind of understand with the whole health thing because a lot of people defer to people who know more about medicine because it gravely affects your situation. Doing or not doing something results in your death or getting sick or something. So I can understand a little bit of hesitance to trust information there, for sure, absolutely. But when you're told to not do your own research about something like world events, what people are doing in other countries, there might be something fishy about that. You might want to look about that, and maybe look inwards, look introspectively, look inwards, and say, if I were to say something like that, it would be because why? And then ask yourself what that is. You'll probably be onto something. Why am I doing this? I'm not making any money. I pay more money to do this than I make. Yeah. So, I mean, how long can I keep that up? I don't know. It's not even a fact. It's not even not me down because now possibly they could. Maybe I'll have uh, a legal authority figure stomping his foot on my face, telling me we're going to put you into a box, and it all ends right in there. Or just financially fall apart and can't do this anymore. Or the streets are on fire, and then me and I have to go in the woods now. I don't know. It could be any sort of any number of things. But this is a very, very, very temporary thing that we have. All of it. Your entire life. Your parents' lives. Your grandparents' lives. This in the bucket of life is but a drop. A little smidgen of what has happened. It's good probably for, a few dozen years. A few dozen, maybe a couple hundred, give or take. And, you can even throw World War I and II in there, and it would still make top of the list for the best time in human history. Because before all of that, it was shit. However, when it was good for a lot longer, several more times. The Greeks lasted around 400 years before they had any problem. Romans about 240 years. We barely made it 100. Like, come on, get it together, people. They did it before. They tried it. They tried to merge the whole thing in World War I and World War II because these ideologies were trying to emerge then, trying to emerge now, and they're working because they made the people stupid as fuck. So, goddamn, get a grip. Start thinking with your nuclear. Start listening. Stop talking. I'm going to tell you something. I play around on Twitter all the time, especially with the authority that's on there. You know how I do it? I listen. I listen. I listen to what people are saying, and I can manipulate them. I can control them like little pawns by making them mad. I can say this. They respond. They think that they have the authority to say what they feel, but really, I'm just like I'm manipulating them with strength. Their actions are a result of my actions. If they spent more time just listening, they'd be like, "Hey, maybe Russ trying to manipulate me into a reaction, huh? Maybe I won't give him what he wants." And then I'd be like, embarrassed, and I'd go away. That doesn't happen on Twitter, though, because they think they have the authority to shut anybody down, so they can shut anyone down, right? I go out there swinging, looking for fights. And it's hard to find now because, they shadow bans since probably 2014 is when I first started doing this. But the point is that in other places where the people aren't working for Twitter or aren't working for the platform, I should say, they they feel empowered the same way that these Twitter people are, and they think, because somehow I've been given the gift to change the world, and reacting like they do. And you think that you got it figured out. And you don't. You don't have it figured out. You're not listening. Virtue signaling and responding to it is not the same as social justice. The term social justice has been taken so far out of context that it's not social justice. It's exactly the same thing as fascism now, but in a different light. And it's a worse light. Turning good, honest, everyday people into fucking monsters. People that have to ban, family, friends of mine that have banned. Because ignoramuses and because they feel that they're empowered to say something. And it's like, no, you're just repeating the same bullshit rhetoric that was being put out to the German people in the 1930s. God damn it. The same movements that created the education system around in the last 10, 20 years that created this culture of cancellation. They want to tear down statues of famous, historical figures because they were bad and that they foster bad memories and they were terrible tyrants and this and that. We don't put the accolades for that shit, the dumb shit. We don't put them for that reason. We put them up as reminders of turning points, of milestones in our history, so that we learn from it and look back. We don't tear down a statue and say we don't want to remind ourselves of that guy because he's bad. We want to be reminded of that, so we don't be that again. I don't know what to tell you guys. But like I said, if you want to be a permanent shadow on somewhere, go ahead. Fill your boots. I've been doing a lot of looking around, and there's been a lot of people in Mariupol that have stepped forward talking about what the Ukrainians did to them. No, I know, right? Not the Russians. No, the Ukrainians. The Russians did what they did. They opened up a corridor and they moved as many people as would go and got them out of there and established a corridor route and then left. And Ukraine, the Ukrainian army, I don't know if it was Azov or the Azov battalion, most of them are pretty dispersed. But anyway, the army came in to see what was going on, and then they decided to kind of stage a little operation of their own, and all of Western media jumped on it. I'm not going to get into the details. Quite frankly, I spend too much time going through these goddamn details. I know the story. I've been deeply embedded in this story since 2014. I've been watching and paying attention. Most of you don't even know where Ukraine is if you would be asked. So I mean, come on, gotta get real, guys. There's no white. I just don't want to say white now. It's a bad thing. I say white prince. Now I can't even say that now because I'll get canceled. But listen, no one's gonna come and save you. Nobody. Not if you're willing to save yourself. You got to put yourself into that situation where you're at least worth saving. Because you're just waiting for somebody to come and pluck you from the grips. I don't know. I can't even imagine what people see in their minds when they are picturing evils in this world. When I see evils in this world, I picture 7 billion people playing with fucking Facebook all goddamn day and not even having any sense of what's going on. And then all of their morality and ethics are built upon that framework and structure. Give me a goddamn break. Give me a break. No, I'm not buying it. And people have to start getting, like we live on the shoulders of giants, for crying out loud. There should be no excuse for us to not have the information we need. If it's people lack the drive, they lack the motivation, they lack the goddamn nuts and bolts that it takes to be a person. Just want to care about your own bullshit. Do that. Do that then. But then don't try having a voice because that's in the whole fake news thing. I'm telling you right now, you find out who were the recipients of that $600 million, and you'll see if you comparatively go through all the stories they've been spouting in the last year. Just the one last year alone, not to mention the last 20, but you just go for the last 1 year alone, and you see the different stories that have been played out. You do a little comparative work on your own, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But no. You're going to call me white ring, right wing. See, I have dyslexia, so and that was, but yeah, right wing. I used to be proud to call myself, liberal-minded back in the day, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. When I just started learning about the whole political platform thing, like I didn't understand it for so long, and just when I thought I had it figured out, I was like, yeah, I kind of support all liberal, ideologies. That is so far removed now from what we are experiencing today that people would have the audacity to call me right wing. If anything, I'm still pretty centralized. I'm a little liberal on some stuff. I'm a little conservative on other stuff. But doesn't make me doesn't make me right wing. It's disgusting. It's disgusting because usually when you resort to just categorically pigeonholing people, basically what you're doing is you're letting go of any analytical thought. Basically, you're letting go of any analytical thought of a person's contributions over a period of time. We'll say, for instance, say, yeah, so and so did this, so and so did that, and they say something, and then you get mad and post an article and saying, "Oh, well, he said this 3 years ago, and we got to shut him down." And then next thing you know, you get an army of freaks behind you with forks and torches and all that, the typical posses out to basically hang a guy. But in today's decade, like in this last, I wouldn't even say decade, in the last 2 years alone, in the last 2 years, I've never seen toxicity of this nature, since toxic is a word that they're using for this kind of thing. Like, it's so backwards. People can't see the forest for the trees. Like, have you noticed every time, like, Antifa, which is anti-fascist, every time they show up somewhere, something gets burnt down, right? Same, like BLM, same thing. It's like these are designed to get reaction and get ducks who won't do their own research and learn to just be part of something and become friggin' legs and feet. That's it. That's all it is. And if you want to be a lemming, that's what you do, I guess. You go along with it. And I know some of you have sensitive ears, and I have a tendency to swear a lot. If I didn't, and I filtered that, I'd be losing the emotion that made me think of these things in the first place. If you guys are going to get mad about something, get mad about something. Get mad about something that you feel. Don't get mad about something that someone's convinced you is okay or right. Don't even listen to me. Like, put me in with everything else, and then look at the contracting points. Look at what sounds. If it doesn't sound logical, it probably isn't. We have that kind of a sense. We were kind of gifted with that. You have that inner voice. I don't know if that feels right. It's the same one that you go into a new restaurant or a new club or something you've never been to, and you kind of get one of those feelings like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. It could come from a few different places. It could be a little bit of the jitters, nervousness. It could be that. Sometimes it could be, guy polishing a clock in the corner. That might be that too. Who knows? Saying it could be anything. But you have to be observant. You have to know where the fire exits are. You have to know where the windows are. Where are you in relationship to outside? All of these things called situational awareness. I don't know. I don't know. I always thought it was because I was in the military that I think of these things, and that I'm thoughtful for other people around me thinking these things. And the more I think about because I've met lots of people that were in the military or or in law enforcement or in positions of authority that also have no situational awareness. They're yes sir, no sir, full sir, yeah. No, I'm mad. I'm mad. I just went through a whole week of articles regarding what's going on over there in the Ukraine. Look, RT News is Russia's CNN. CNN is America's CNN. CBC is non-profit, but they're making some fucking bank. So is the BBC. So is Al Jazeera. Global News was one of the biggest offenders because they're private. They were a recipient of the bailout. A few others as well. I don't want to miss by saying other ones, but that one I do know for sure. And they're not even interviewing people that are directly involved in some of the events that they've covered. They showcase one, like that. There's during the trucker convoy, they caught a picture of a guy about almost like a kilometer away from the downtown area where they were protesting that had swastikas. Ran with that story. That guy with those swastikas, 365 days of the year, warning people that we're going to turn into Nazis. And he's like, do you want to turn into this? Is what the sign is. He's not pro-Nazi. He's not pro-swastika. Jesus. But they rolled with that story, and people are like, what? The truckers, they're Nazis. What? Down with them. Oh, down with you, because you're stupid, dumbass. Gosh. Just drives me nuts. Absolutely drives me ballistic. Yeah. Jay, if you're listening, this is for you. You're an idiot. Anyway, just makes the cackles go out, don't they? Huh? But whatever. You know, you can't pick your friends, but you can pick your friends' noses. Somebody said to me once upon a time. That just popped into my head. It's so funny. But anyway, listen. Things are changing. They're changing really damn fast. If you did know, in 2014, America removed itself from the first strike, the first strike nuclear policy. Basically, I can't remember the name of what it is, and that meant that somewhere somebody thinks that they can survive a nuclear war. If that's the case, that's dangerous for everybody, because then that means everybody else dies. So start thinking a little bit before you just kind of aimlessly wander around and believe what's on your television. You pay for that, right? Your cable service, where you get your news from, which is broadcast out to you. Something that you don't have to lift a fucking finger for going to work and making your money and then paying for your cable. I'm going to let you in on something. They're called programs for a reason. Somebody assembles it. That news on the news channel comes from the Associated Press. The Associated Press sends a broadcast to all of their outlets. It's over 3,000 of them in America alone. Same with the radio. Now, it can be argued that the reason you have to get a radio license is because you're occupying a piece of radio bandwidth. So the CRTC here in Canada, the FCC in the United States, they're trying to control how many people are in a certain amount of radio bandwidth. And from a managerial perspective, I can buy that. You don't want people just broadcasting on frequencies willy-nilly and fucking the whole thing up. Okay, I get it. I get that. But we're here as journalists. To get a license to be a journalist in Canada is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how first off, freedom of press is an individual right that is chartered by our Bill of Rights that was constitutionally ratified in 1982. They've just made it illegal to practice journalism in Canada without a government sanctioned or approved license. How do you restrict something that is constitutionally protected? How does that get the gate without being shut down by a bunch of angry Canadians? It doesn't. Because you're stupid, half of you. And I'm to blame for a lot of this too, because my cynicism towards politics is a lot to blame, but it's so is your cynicism towards politics. The reason this happened is because we didn't get involved. We let the jerks who knew how to manipulate the system get in there, and they got in there because we wouldn't do that work. We abdicated ourselves of our duty to protect our future civilization, our children, and pretty much our genetic history, genetic future. I was going to say future history, but yeah, man. I want to leave you with that. And that's it. No special quotes, no funny shit. That's Daily Noonerino. Be back on later with Truth Hurts podcast. I'm shooting for 6 o'clock Pacific. That'll be 9 p.m. Eastern, but it could start as late as midnight on the East, and it could start anytime between 6 and midnight. Trying to round up a couple of people, see if I can get them. If I can't get them, it'll be a late broadcast. It's just going to be me and my co-host. We're going to be we're going to be doing it at midnight. So that'll be like 3 o'clock in the morning, out east. It'll be midnight. Midnight here in Pacific time, and the East Coast it'll be 3 o'clock. But anyway, guys, listen. If you have any objections to anything I said, go ahead. Be free. Be free. Just tell me a description. Give me a description of your comment in the comments. See? Mouthful of marbles, Robert here. But yeah, do that. I mean, hey, I'm not right about everything. And not all of my rants are right. But I'm willing to listen to you. And when I do go with the True Hurts podcast, we will have the lines open. You'll be able to phone in, or you can use your social media of choice and contact us. And we'll let you on. See what you want to say. But guys, you gotta start thinking, man. Start getting a little smart. Stop listening to goddamn TV. You're paying them to basically put bullshit in your head. And they've made life so difficult that the last thing you want to worry about when you get home is what the hell they're doing behind closed doors. I know. It's tough. And everyone's life is fucked up. But guess what? It's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. It's not going to get better. So, we got a lot of work to do. Anyway, I'm fucking off. We'll talk to you later. This is the Daily Noonerino.